Hey everybody, this is Joe Gilder from HomeStudioCorner.com, starting a new video series today called 12 Home Studio Necessities. This is actually a series of blog posts that I wrote years ago when I first started Home Studio Corner, and now we're going to do a video version. So it's going to be updated with some newer information, and in my opinion has changed a little bit on some of this stuff too. So basically this series is going to cover the 12 basics that you need in your studio. Now you may not need every single one of these, but to kind of be all-inclusive for most people making music in their home studio, they can have a benefit from each of these categories. So we're going to talk about this. This is a little more entry-level, a little more basic, introductory. However, if you've been recording for a while, some of these things you may have not thought of, or you may not have thought of them in this particular way. So I still think these videos are going to help you think through the gear that you own, where the holes are, what things maybe you are missing that you need, and maybe places that you can upgrade and get a better sound out of the equipment that you already have. Okay, so starting number one, the first necessity that we're going to need is a computer. Now I know that there are some people that record analog, not most home studio folks, and then I know some of you have those actual all-in-one recorder boxes, like the roll-in boxes and things like that. This doesn't apply to you, but for the rest of us, for most of us who are using computers to record, obviously we need a computer. Now, I'm not going to go into the specs of what you need to have inside your computer. That's just total nerding out stuff that I don't really get into. You can read all that online. However, I am going to talk about the popular topic of Mac versus PC. Okay? Now, as you can see behind me, it's a dead giveaway, I am a Mac user. But I'm not one of those hardcore jerk Mac users who tells PCs that they're awful and they should just, curl up and die because they use a PC. PCs are great. You can make great music on a PC. You can make great music on a Mac. Here are my thoughts. There are only a handful of Macs at any given point on the market, okay? So there's, right now, as of 2013, there's the Mac Mini, the little Mac Mini servers. There's MacBook Pros, MacBook Airs, iMacs, and the towers, okay? It's only 4 or 5 products in different sizes, different configurations, but that's it. So if I was an audio manufacturer creating audio software or audio interfaces, which we're going to talk about in future videos, then I'm going to probably have a lot easier time getting my stuff to work with a Mac, because there's just the same FireWire chipset in each one, or Thunderbolt now. There's just the same basic components in all of them. So if I can get it to work on one, I can get it to work on all of them. So it's from a compatibility standpoint, it's actually a great product line because you do have that similarity across all lines. Whereas on the PC side, you can buy a Dell, you can buy a Gateway if they still exist. You can go to Walmart and get e-machines. There's just so many different variables, and from my experience working at Sweetwater, there are a lot of different chipsets and motherboards and all those different components that don't work very well for audio recording. Software and hardware sometimes just don't talk very well or interact very well with those pieces. And the only way to really know that is to do a ton of research and find out which motherboard to get, which chipset to get, which ones are compatible, which ones aren't. And if you're building your own, you got to source all those parts and then put it together. Or if you're having one built or you're buying one, you've got to go and make sure every piece on the list is compatible with the software and hardware that you're going to be using. Now, that's fine. A lot of people get into that stuff. If that's you, go for it. But for me personally, I didn't want to do that, and I'd rather just get a Mac that I know works. Now, are Macs flawless? No, not at all. I have plenty of issues. I still get the little pinwheel of death, fairly regularly. However, it works, and I'm happy with it, and I don't feel a need to change. So whether you already use a Mac or you already use a PC, I'm not telling you to change. Those are just some things to keep in mind. You can make great music, hit music even, on either platform. So don't get too hung up in this debate. Pick one, get what you can afford, go for it, and start making music.